All right, we're live. You're live. You're live. All right, first of all, I need to address the elephant in the room. We've got pink socks on, pink shirt, and I got dots on my face. I was cheering tonight with my daughter, who's a freshman in high school. She's a cheerleader. So just want to clear up that right now. So there's no crazy rumors flying around, I guess.
Pictures flying.
All right, so we're here tonight. So it's 10 o'clock at night. Kind of a weird time to do a call. I told Josh I'd help him out at 3 o'clock tomorrow. I forgot I was in a charity golf tournament, so I wanted to help my boy out here. He's a good friend of mine, and so we're here at 10 o'clock. So really, I'm not 100%, but I think we're working on in-home presentation. Yeah. Okay. So let's start off with, is there a particular area that you are struggling with, or are there some particular sales that you want to go through? We could probably do both. If you want to just kind of open up, tell me what you're kind of struggling with, and then if we can go through some actual examples, I can probably help you out best. Yeah. Kind of like an old-fashioned hot seat, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and Andy, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, thanks.
So for the most part, the main thing I want to cover is like the why. I think I need to get a lot better on like bringing emotion out there.
Okay.
And this past week in the home was like, it was tough for me.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people who had not too much of an income, like a budget.
Okay.
And so I don't think I built enough of a why for them to
move forward.
Yeah, to move forward, because they were worried about the money.
Well, I will say up front, there's definitely the two biggest components of a sale are going to be the why and their budget. And I always train people on this. The why is what's going to cause you to make a sale. The budget's what's going to help them keep it.
Yeah.
So why helps you with your or I don't want to say placement, but like just getting the sale in general, but making sure that we're hitting budget. And so I got some tips on that too, because that's important as well. That's going to keep your persistency up and keep the chargebacks down by making sure we hit budget. Also, a lot of agents are scared to communicate with their clients after the sale because they're afraid they're going to cancel. That's a myth. The people that have the most contacts tend to have the best placement and everything. So anyway, but we're not there yet. So we'll get into the why, and you got to have a why. And so let's go back. Do you have a sale this week, or that's in your mind that you didn't make?
Yeah.
And let's just kind of walk through that real quick.
So this scenario happened a couple of times. So their final expense, and they're looking for like a small cremation policy.
Okay.
They prefer cremation, and they just want to make sure that it doesn't fall on their kids, like that burden.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. So that's what they want, and I built rapport with them.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of times, and again, none of this is ever meant to be a slight on you, but I will say a lot of people think they get good rapport, and maybe you did. Let's talk about when you got there. Tell me how the appointment went down.
Okay. Well, when I first got there, she had a dog, and she was like talking about the dog a lot, so I was talking about the dog just for a little bit. But then we talked about her family, her daughter, how she loves her daughter. She has
how many kids does she have?
3.
Okay.
She's closest with the one daughter.
Good detail to know. Okay. Where does she live?
Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Her daughter lives in Tampa.
And where does mom live?
She's in Daytona.
Okay, got it. So pretty close.
Yeah.
How often does she talk to her?
Every day.
Wow, that's a good relationship. Okay, so you talked about that. Is she the one that would she have been the primary beneficiary?
Yeah, her daughter.
And is she the one that would pay for the funeral?
If she didn't have a program,
yeah,
it would probably be her.
Probably.
I didn't find that out.
All right, so now we're getting into the gap in your the why.
Yeah.
So, and it's common. Like a lot of times when people sit there on a couch or in a hot seat, they won't, when we get to questions, because I like to ask the hard hitting questions, and you can do that by playing dumb, concerned, dumb. Dumb might be a wrong word, but confused is a great word. I'm gonna say, God, that's awesome. Now, if you didn't have anything in place, would she be the one that would have to pay for your funeral? And I asked her, and I shut up. Because that's a powerful question. And if she really has a close relationship, that stings.
Yeah.
And so I got it. Now, and so I would dig on that too. I would like, I mean, does she like have the financial resources to do that though? I mean, would that be okay? Because if she did, you know, that's one path. But if she didn't, I'm like, wow, you know how many moms like don't want to take care of stuff like this?
Yeah.
And you're actually, because it gives you a chance to edify.
Yeah.
And so you're doing two things at once. Remember the core components. I covered two of them. So it's web is the way you remember it. It used to be something you used, but just the most important elements of that whole, like Andy will joke with you and talk about like 15 web T's. The most important part of that acronym is web. It's why, edify, and budget. Okay. And so when we get into the, like by asking her who has to pay for the funeral, because that's where the rubber meets the road right there.
Yeah.
It's great that she has a great relationship with her daughter. There's a million moms that have a great relationship with their daughters. My wife talks to her mom every day too. Like that, mothers and daughters, they just all day long.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. It's just how they are. But what's different is out of all your kids. So this is how you even make it more powerful. So let me ask you this: out of all your kids, if you didn't have a policy in place, who would end up picking up the tab, or who would have to pay for your funeral? And you just let. Okay. Now, if that's her, like, so this one, I got you. Now, does she have the financial resources to do that? I mean, I don't know. Have you looked? Have you found out like what kind of how much it costs? I know they say average around 10 grand or something, but you can get as cheap as $5. Have you done any look around already for that?
Yeah, I did do a bit. From what I saw, it was like 3,000-4,000, which she does not have. She's young.
Got it. Okay. And so from there, I'm going to say, and now that I have that why on the table a little bit, like I'm starting to get in there. I want to add, like, so and so now we haven't established it. Like I will seed a lot. Like I'm giving her a lot of times we just have to give our clients, like they initiated the contact with us, right? This came from a lead.
Yeah.
So it was on our mind already. I've got to give them a good excuse to pull the trigger. And so I'm okay with leading the witness, as it were, but I do need them. I ask questions. Sometimes I act dumb and I make like, is that what you were thinking? Like I'll use phrases like, is that what you were thinking? That gets, because it allows me to make a statement and then turn it into a question by doing that. And I'll say, gosh, is that why you filled the form out? I mean, you just didn't want her to have to face that burden alone. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, exactly.
And see, is that what you're thinking is a question?
Yeah.
So I run a suggestion up into a question, and I lead the witness. Does that make sense to you? And I'll say, gosh. And so as soon as she says yes, I'm going to pause for a second. So that's pretty awesome. There's a lot of moms out there that love their daughters, but not as much to actually take care of them financially and pay for their own funeral.
Yeah.
Is that what your goal is, to make sure you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's wonderful. First of all, why's on the table. Now I'm edifying, and don't sit there for hours edifying with something.
Yeah.
But you have to acknowledge it. You have to say, oh, and it's okay just to pause and just like be a loss of words. That's a form of edification too. You know, you could say, gosh, that's awesome. I wish we had more moms that really want to take care of their kids, not just in like telephone calls and staying in touch, but like what you're doing. I think that's admirable. I really do. Now look, as admirable as that is, so here I'm giving her every reason, but now I'm transitioning away from the edification to budget. Okay. And the way I do it and say, gosh, as admirable as that is, I'm sure budget is a pretty big concern for you guys too. I mean, as you get older, I know, there's fixed incomes and all that stuff. So am I right in saying that budget is a concern?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just, let's just talk. I want to help you guys, as I can see it in your eyes, like you really want to take care of your daughter. My goal is to help you try to afford that. Okay. Have you given any thought to what, like on a monthly basis, like what you could stomach or, to kind of do this?
Not too much.
Okay, when you say not too much, it's different for everybody. Like some people pay, some people say 50 is good. Some people say 100. Some people say that's way too much and they need to stay around 30 or, but you tell me. I mean, the prices are fixed, if you give me an idea of where you want to stay, I'll do my best because you know what? Even $1,000 extra,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, nobody's gonna.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, even $1,000 if you had to pay for somebody's funeral and somebody offered you $1,000, would you be mad?
Yeah, no.
No. Okay. So, I mean, we'll get something and things may change. We can always add to it more later.
Yeah.
But the important thing is to kind of make you sleep a little easier tonight. I don't want you losing sleep over a payment, but I do want to help you sleep a little easier so you don't have to worry so much about your daughter having to pay for that all by herself. Okay. So let me ask you this: what kind of I'm out of character now. What kind of prices did you show?
So she had about like $40 a month left over.
Okay.
And so I asked her.
How old was she?
She was 60.
Young. 60 something.
60 something. Yeah.
Any health issues?
No.
Jeez. So what did you look at?
Well, actually, yes.
What?
She had COPD. Yes.
What did you go with? What were you looking at? Transamerica?
Standard, yeah.
Okay. Any other health issues or just COPD?
No, that was like the only one that.
Okay. Did she require oxygen?
No.
She was in her 60s. God bless it. Almost. I'd have to look, but Forrester Strong found that she's young enough to get Forrester Strong. Now it's a term.
Yeah.
But they take mild COPD now.
Oh, really?
But you can't. They can't. It's pretty strict. They can have COPD, but I don't think they have to be. They can't be on medication for or something. I don't know. But anyway, let's skip that for now. I don't want to do product training right now. But so you went with Transamerica. What kind of pricing were you looking at? So she had 40 left over. That means she needs to stay underneath 40 because 40 paid. Everything was paid. You had $40 a month.
Yeah.
So out of that 40, like half of that, is that what you want to dedicate to this?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
Okay, so $20 a month. So how much was for her age was?
Yeah, so I showed her, I forget the exact number, but it was like just enough for the cremation.
Which was 3,000 or 4,000?
It was like 2,000 something.
Okay. And what did that come out to?
That was like 19 something.
Okay.
Yeah. So I showed her like between 18 and 22.
Yeah.
And so the prices were fine, but I know I did something wrong with the Y.
It's probably what I'm talking about. You never got the pain out.
Yeah.
You started to get the Y out, but you didn't get the pain out.
Yeah, I did not get it.
And you understand when I say like that stuff that I was talking about earlier, when I say now out of all your kids, if you didn't have any coverage, which one of them would kind of step up and like have to pay for it? Like who would do that for you? That's painful. You understand how that's different than like a Y is a basis for wanting insurance. The pain is the emotional core that they want to go away.
Yeah.
Because there's only two people do things for two reasons: pain and pleasure. That's out of the giant. It's called the Giant. Awaken the Giant Within.
The Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins book, right? And he talks at length about that.
Oh yeah.
But that concept, that's probably the main concept of that whole book, is the only thing that motivates people is the seeking of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. And so when we can get them into something where they can avoid that pain and makes them feel good at the same time, it's a double whammy. But see, it doesn't sound like you went deep enough and made her feel the pain. Because if you had done that and then you hit her budget, she would probably move forward.
Yeah. How do you get better at that? What do you have?
It's stuff like this. So in fact, why don't we go ahead and practice?
Yeah.
I'm going to reverse roles because I just did role play with you. So now I want you to kind of redo that appointment and let's do it with me. So I'll just answer generically as best I can. Kind of take yourself back to the appointment and let's get into like we've done our small talk, all that stuff.
Okay.
Right.
So
just ask me a series of questions. Yeah. So tell me how you transition. Like, how did you get into like you at one point you're doing small talk. Next thing you know, you're doing insurance. Yeah. How did that go? What was your transition?
After I found out about her family,
okay,
who she loved, and I got to know all that, I told her my story.
Okay.
So.
What was your story?
It's about my grandpa.
Okay.
Want me to tell you?
Yeah, but I'm almost wondering if the order was wrong.
Okay.
I, after you get her to tell her story, they can bare her soul, and then you come in, let me tell you my story.
Wait.
Is that how it
No,
went?
no, no.
Okay, you told your story first?
Yes.
Okay, and then you got the why out
Yes.
from her?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
better.
yeah,
Yeah, like you don't want to one up your client.
Oh,
That's all, you know.
yeah.
Hey, that's a great story. Wait till you hear about my
Oh,
granddad.
yeah.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work. All right, so you did, so you have your story to kind of create relatability.
Yeah, yeah. And then I got hers.
Okay. How does that transition? So you tell your story about your granddad, and how long does that take?
3 minutes, maybe less.
All right, let's do it real quick, and I want you to let's start with that story because that's at the bottom of your first your ATM, the about me, right? That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've done all this other stuff. You talked, and then let's.
That's like the first page I show.
Yeah.
Like Brand does in his video.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then so it's a video that you show.
No, like Brand does in his video.
Oh,
So
in
he
his
talks
video.
about-
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. I thought you showed a video about your granddad.
No,
All
no,
right.
no.
Okay. It's like, I might be a bit much. Yep. Sarah McLaughlin in the background. All right. So tell me your story. So you're doing your ATM. And I
Yeah.
want to hear you transition to, because that's important as well.
Okay.
All right.
So basically, I say like after I got to know about her, I just thought I wanted to share a little bit about me. This is my family: my mom, my grandma, my grandpa, and when I was born, my dad, he wasn't around, so my grandpa was the one who raised me. He was like my dad, and when I was 15 years old, I just got my permit to drive.
Yeah.
When you still need like an adult. To
Yeah,
drive.
yeah, absolutely.
So I just got that. My grandpa was the one teaching me how to drive. And I pulled up home with my mom to show my grandpa that I just got the permit. And in front of my house was the ambulance.
Oh man.
And my neighbors from next door were around my house. They knew my family. So we pull up and I'm confused and see that they're taking my grandpa.
Yeah.
Into the ambulance. So we ended up following them to the hospital nearby, like 10-minute drive, and we're waiting. And after a couple hours of waiting, the doctor comes to us, and they let me know that my grandpa has liver cancer.
Oh.
Stage 4 had gone unnoticed. So he went from being totally fine to where we were playing, soccer and messing around to in 5 days he was gone.
Wow.
And I never realized at the time, because I was 15, the financial strain it had on my mom. He worked at Target, so he helped around the house and stuff. And so he had a small policy. It wasn't enough for the funeral. It was $5,000. And my mom had to take out loans, and we ended up, in a really tough financial situation. And so when I turned 18 is when I started helping families with these programs.
That's a good time. The one thing I would give you a tip on that,
Okay.
I wouldn't say the $5,000
Okay.
because you just outpriced her. She's trying to get 3 or 4, and now she feels like that's not enough.
So never say a number.
I would just saying it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
You don't have to put you don't have to put a number on it. In fact, it's better if you don't, because then they imagine the number in their own head, and they put because as you're telling your story, they're putting themselves in your shoes. But when you come out hard with a number and it's higher than what she's trying to get, it could put a wall up between you and her. Like without even that may have been it right there. It's like, gosh, I can't even get 5,000. This guy said it wasn't enough. In other words, there's a subconscious thing going on where she thinks maybe that you would look down on her if she does. You know what I mean? And so I would just the stories is well told. So don't change anything. I would just really leave the 5,000 out. Just leave that to their imagination.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I listened to that, because that may have been hurting you. So because some people, it's better without. Just say and it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
That's more powerful than 5,000 wasn't enough, because it's very, very specific, and it's only gonna identify like this many. Whereas if you leave it out, it identifies with everybody. Okay. Oh, hang on one second. Let me see something here. Hey Andy, can you still? I just see an error message on my machine. Am I good still?
I hear you and see you fine.
Okay, buddy. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so all right, so you got to the end of it, and so we're back into it. Start where you said, and that's when I started. From that point on, it was kind of like a mission of mine. I wanted to help other people avoid that. Like, and so say that and then transition over.
So that's right after I do that is when I say.
Well, go ahead and just do it.
Okay.
Like,
so
action, like put yourself back into it.
So Chris, I don't know what was going on. Actually, first I say
back yourself up into the end of your story and then continue on.
Okay.
So just talk about, would it start with the words, in 5 days,
okay,
he was gone.
And in the span of about 5 days, he was gone. And so it's when I turned 18. From that experience is what motivated me to get my license and start helping families with these programs. And so I love doing this. Has anything like that ever happened in your family? I know you told me about your father. Was there insurance in place?
And what did she say? What did she say there?
Her mom was covered.
Her mom was covered. And what did you say? This is important right here.
Okay, I said awesome. Yeah.
Anything else? Did you say anything else?
No.
Okay, you could have furthered it a little bit, and so that's awesome. And it's based on this. It sounds like you want to kind of do the same thing for your kids, like your mom did for you. See, because that's more like what see how like when I'm bringing her mom in and the memory of her mom, that's more emotional than just that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you gotta. It's subtle. It's not huge, but these subtleties actually do help.
Yeah.
Like for real. So you say, is that wow? That's pretty powerful. Is that when you fill this form out? Is that kind of you're thinking that you want to do the same thing for your kids as your mom did for you?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. So I don't want to do it again because I need you to role play.
Yeah.
I have a habit of just so it's hard not to.
Yeah.
So okay. So practice that. Like so. So did anybody ever happen like to you? Because I'm gonna respond now.
Has anything ever happened? Has that ever happened in your family?
When my mom died, she had insurance and it took care of all of us.
She did.
Yeah.
Wow. And is that from that experience and seeing that and how she prepared, is that what made you want to do the same thing for your daughter?
Don't forget the awesome though. Like don't.
Okay.
Like it's good. Like so you got to edify and then you dig.
Yeah.
You just if you can only do one, the dig is great. But together they work really good. So wow.
Okay.
That's awesome. Because now you just commended her mom, and she took care of her. And so that's you can make some money on that.
Okay.
So wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now is that, and then you do both. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay.
So do the whole walk. Yeah. All right. So here, action. My mom when she died, she had a policy, and we were able to take care of everything.
She did.
Yeah.
That is, dude. I've seen a lot of families where I asked that question and they weren't prepared. So it's very thoughtful of your mom. And I can tell she was a good parent. Did that kind of motivate you to do the same thing from that experience, for her having it prepared? Is that why you want to do the same?
Okay, that's good. Let's make it stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, that's awesome. I even liked your words a second ago. There's a lot of families when I ask that question, they can't say that.
Yeah.
It sounds like your mom was I don't know everything about you or anything, but at least that aspect of that, it sounds like was an awesome person to do that for you. Was that, and I guess that probably had an impact on you, huh? When she took care of you even after she was gone.
Yeah.
It did. I'm guessing, and you tell me, like when you were filling the form out, were you thinking about your mom and maybe you just trying to do right by your children?
Yeah.
Like she did by you?
Yeah, from never having experienced the pain of not being prepared is why, I didn't want my kids to experience that.
Right. So, so in other words, like you're on the right track.
I see, yeah.
But you see how I'm bringing in, I'm really invoking her relationship with her mom. And now here she is. If she actually told you that, there's a good chance. And see how I kind of stuttered and I was like, now, I'm guessing when you were filling this out, were you thinking about your mom? See, that's a strong visual. Now, where I'm invoking emotion in her big time. Were you thinking about, like, when you were filling this out, were you kind of thinking about your mom and want to do the same for your own children now that now that you're a mom? See, being a mom is a very emotional thing for women, I mean, so being a dad is. Being a parent, we'll just say that. Being a parent is a very emotional thing. And that's an area we need to get comfortable going into. Okay. All right, keep going. So now, so you can replay that, and then I want you to keep going because I want you to further that why. I want to see where you're going to go with it.
Okay. So
I can give you a hint. If you need a hint, just say hint.
Yeah.
You want a hint?
Yeah.
All right. So remember, we're going to try to identify which child has to pay for it if she doesn't have it.
Okay.
All right.
So where am I backtracking?
You can backtrack. So
that's why you wanted to do this.
Just say awesome. So that's awesome. Start with that and then keep going.
Okay. That is so awesome. A lot of families I sit with, they don't have the privilege of saying that. So I can tell, she was a good parent. And did that have an impact on you that she did that for you guys?
Yeah. I'll always remember it.
Yeah. And so is that, I don't know what you were thinking when you filled it out, but is that kind of who you were thinking about or the example you were thinking about when you filled out the card to do the same for your daughter?
Okay, so you've got to say the word mom. Were you thinking about your mom?
Your mom. Okay.
That's huge. I mean, it's the difference in saying he, like he's in my office and Josh is in my office. Like when I say your name,
yeah,
it has an impact on you. Like if we had you hooked up to a blood pressure monitor, literally every time you hear the word Josh, it spikes just slightly.
Wow.
Because so when you instead of saying she, so say the words.
Yeah.
When you were filling this form out, were you thinking about your mom? Is more powerful than just kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's subtle. Again, it's a subtle little tiny thing.
Yeah.
But this is how you get better at the why.
Yeah.
It's all about connecting. It's the human experience is based on relationships. Inside of those relationships, we have key relationships.
Yeah.
Our mothers, our fathers, our children, then our brothers and our sisters, and then cousins and grandparents. Actually, grandparents usually, and this is a general, right? So it's different, but it's usually children's first, your own parents second, and then you got grandparents, and especially if grandparents were a big influence, kind of like your situation, and then you got siblings and cousins. But I like to use names of people in their life.
Yeah.
Or if it's a mom, and if it's dad, or did you call your dad or some? Did you have a crazy nickname for him? Stuff like that. Because if they say, yeah, it's funny you say that. We always call him pops.
Yeah.
And so you can use that.
Start using it.
Yeah. And so when you're suggesting things, you really can get in there and go. Were you thinking about pops? Like when you're filling the form out. You see, it's a lot more powerful by just invoking the name of a loved one. All right, so start over and say, wow, that's awesome. And let's get the word mom in there. Were you thinking about your mom?
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that is awesome. I've sat with a lot of families, man, who they didn't have the privilege of saying that. The mom wasn't prepared, so I really commend her on that. Did that have an impact on you that she did that for you guys?
Yeah, I guess it kind of stuck with me.
Yeah. So is your mom who you were thinking about when you filled out the form and wanted to do the same as your mom did for you?
That was good. That's better. I'm nitpicking, but if you'll say, and this is just a nitpick, what you did is fine. But if you'll say form first and put mom second, mom is the last word that she hears.
Okay.
When you're filling the form out, she doesn't care about the form. But you used mom early, and then you ended with form. And this is trivial, but it does. When you're filling the form out, like were you thinking about your mom? Not, form, or there's no emotional, context there. And so you say, when you're filling the form out, like, were you thinking about your mom? You see, when you end with mom, it sends a chill. I mean, even just this is role play, but the word mom, it invokes something. And you gotta be sensitive to like little subtleties like that.
Yeah.
Like this, it's crazy. There's so many little, but it's talking about it and becoming aware.
Yeah.
Like right now, you're asking me, like, how do I get better? You're getting better literally right now. Just think like, because we're having this dialogue and now you're going to be more sensitive to like where to use a pronoun,
Sure.
So you're doing it. So that's so awesome. So start with awesome. And let's keep going.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. I've sat with a lot of families, Chris, who they could not tell me the same.
Yeah.
And that's incredible that your mom did that for you. Did that have an impact on you that she thought of you guys?
Good body language, by the way. You grab your heart every time you say that. Yeah, it's something I'll always remember. It was hard enough, but we had money, and yeah, I guess it did.
For sure. So, and I don't know where you were when you were filling the form out, but when you did fill it out, were you thinking about your mom?
Way better. Did you feel it?
Yeah.
You can feel it. It's silly, but it's like it's huge. Yeah, I guess I kind of was.
You were.
Yeah.
What should I do there?
Okay, so you're asking for a hint.
Yeah.
And say, all right, and so wow, that's cool. What a legacy. Were you close with it? You kind of say, okay, now that you're mom, you're the mom now. Is it your, like, who are you, like, who you, like, you're, like, I'm fact finding now a little bit, but I'm fact finding with purpose. I'm getting in there and I'm saying, yes, all right, so, now that you're the mom, because I've promoted her, I've graduated her, and she's going to see herself and her mother's, and the more I can make her like her mom that took care of her family, the more likely she's going to do the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now that you're in your mom's shoes, that's strong too. Now that, I guess you're trying to fill your mom's shoes now.
Yeah.
You have kids, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you close with all of them?
Not equally.
No?
No.
Who's, I hate to say favorite, but who you, we'll say closest, that way you don't have to pick one.
Yeah. I'm closest to my youngest daughter, actually.
Ashley, tell me a little bit about her. She'll go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Something. That's awesome. So let me, God forbid, like, I guess when you die, if you didn't have anything like this, and I'm touching the paper, if you didn't have anything like this in place, is she the one that would have to pay for your funeral, like out of her pocket?
Yes. Yes.
She would.
Yeah.
Does she have the means to do that? I mean, is she well off? Is she?
No, it'd be very tough for her.
Okay. Well, and I guess that's, so when the other thing you were probably thinking about when you're filling this out beside your mom was probably her, huh?
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't want to leave that on her.
That's awesome. And so at this point, like we're sitting too far apart, but at this part, this is where I would touch. Like if we're sitting something, like come a little bit closer.
Yep.
And so if we're sitting closer, say, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that touch is huge. Like it's got to be well timed. It's got to be the right place. But it's just like, wow, because like touch is an accelerator of trust. Touch accelerates trust. It's got to be at the right time. You don't want to be handsy, but well-placed touches at the beginning of a conversation. You're shaking hand. I'm big on the high five.
Yeah,
that's easy. People underrate that. That is really. But if you have a touching moment and say, wow, that's awesome, and say that's cool, and then you touch her, like if you're close enough, touch her on the shoulder. Because it's an emotional thing that she was thinking of, and say, okay, and then you're like, so then you're like taking it all in. You're like, okay, you've made it clear this is important to you.
Yeah.
If you're like me, like a lot of people, and first of all, let me tell you, I think it's awesome. I wish we had more people in America where parents truly not just love their kids, but took care of them like the way that you're doing it, and like your mom did you. That's the edification.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm doing? It's web. It's why, edify, budget. Now we're moving.
Yeah.
So okay, and I'm doing this type of body language. I'm like, okay, is that even that body
What do you
language?
mean?
Like this?
Prepared?
It's a signal. It's like, okay. So in other words, we got to do this. Like that's what I'm communicating. I'm like, okay.
Oh wow.
And I'm shaking my head and I'm rubbing my knees. Like you can see my body language right now. It's almost like I can be saying, okay, we're gonna have to fight. We're gonna beat them. Okay, we've got to. Like every time there's a major decision, people like it, you're processing it. Okay, we're gonna sell the house. Okay, I'm gonna take that new job. Okay, it's like I'm processing the information, and now let's get
We're gonna do it.
we're gonna do it. This posture is we're gonna make sure we get it done. Like no matter what. Like it's that. And I'm sitting up a little bit saying, okay. All right, well, you've made it clear this is important to you. In my experience, budget's a pretty important thing too. I'm assuming that is like most families.
Yeah.
This is okay. What was her name?
Caroline.
Carolyn, one of the biggest things that I want to make sure that we do is obviously, I know you will get some coverage in place. I mean, even if it's, and you tell me, I mean, no matter what the price, something's better than zero, right?
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, and I'm getting see, at this point, I can say all kinds of stuff, and I can also find questions because we're pretty connected at this point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, okay. All right. So, tell me a little bit about your health, and I'm gonna have that conversation.
Okay.
Just because I want to make sure I'm pricing things out right and getting the right product. Say, okay. Biggest thing I want to do, Carolyn, is one, we'll make sure you get some coverage, but I really want to make sure it stays inside your budget, so you're not stressing out. But my job is to make you sleep easier at night, not to have you lose sleep over a payment.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I don't know if you've been thinking about a price or if there's just an absolute number you need to stay under. I generally talk people down. I'm like the weird insurance guy. Like most people try to talk people up. I like people to be comfortable, because here's what I also don't want to happen. I don't want you to, pick a price that, we get you approved and then you pay for it for 6 months and the roof leaks or something, or a car breaks down. Now you have to choose between, fixing your roof or, not taking care of your family.
Yeah.
I mean, because if your roof leaks, you got to do that. So, if we pick a price that's too high, honestly, like 6 months down the road from now, all you've done is you've made a 6-month donation to a life insurance company that frankly doesn't need your money.
Wow.
Instead of giving it to your daughter, I would use her name there.
Yeah.
When she needs it most, and that's when you die. So I know it's important to get coverage, but I want to be that guy that sort of tempers you and make sure that we pick something that is affordable. Okay, is that fair?
Yes.
All right. So have you thought about, like, is there a number that you need to stay under, like budget wise?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't do more than 30.
Okay. So I'll tell you what, why don't we look at some things around 20, 25, and we'll look at 30. But as long as we can get you something there, you'd be comfortable and getting something in place.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get you the best coverage we can for 20, 25, or $30, and then we'll pick one, okay? And we'll apply for it.
Wow.
See, it's just a lot different.
Yeah.
There's not a lot. I mean, so an outsider walking in and go, well, that's pretty much the same thing. It's not, though. There's subtleties there.
Yeah.
The subtleties have to do with invoking her mom, promoting her into her mom's shoes. All right. All right, we got a little time. Let's any questions or comments on that scenario? Because I want to do another one with you just to change it up.
Okay.
But it's going to be kind of the same no matter what we do.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be digging the same way.
So once we did the whole why, and then you did the whole edify, then
budget sensitive.
Yeah. Then you're like, okay, we're gonna do it.
Okay. All right. You've made it clear to me that this is important to you.
Yeah. And you say,
but I'm sure your budget's pretty important too, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times people they'll get it, they'll pick a price and their eyes get real big and they want to get the most money, but sometimes it's too much. I want to make sure that we don't do that. I'm that weird guy that will actually not try to increase the price on you. I'm going to try to talk you down, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we pick something that if we get you approved, I'm not giving it to them yet. If we get you approved, it's something you feel comfortable keeping, because my job, and this is a personal thing, I guess, I like to make you sleep easier at night. I don't want you losing sleep over a payment. Okay. All right. So just, and we'll work together on it. I mean, if something's too high, I know we just met, kick me, slap me, I don't care. Just, if you see a price too high, you just say, hey, Josh, price is too high.
Yeah. And
I'm going to be like your brother or whatever. So no shame in protecting your family, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You'd probably agree that something's better than nothing. You know, even, I mean, I've never seen anybody turn down money. All right. All right. Let's figure out what we can get you covered for. Have you been thinking a little bit about like where you need to stay under? We'll start with that, and then we'll go back. And this is being recorded, so you can go back and
Yeah, I'm
watch.
gonna watch this.
All right.
Wow, yeah, that's insane. That's good.
Can you? All right. So now that we're covering that, can you think back to another appointment that you could have applied a little bit what you've learned?
This whole week.
So the whole, like, if you had another one, are you not like? Give me another example. Like, give me another one. Like tell me what happened.
Yeah.
And you might. I mean, it'd be good if you tell me what happened, and it would be great if you could say I should have done this. Like, so
Yeah.
what? I mean, now, like, apply, in other words. So,
Yeah.
So give me another example of something that didn't go well this week.
So I had a ton that were similar to that, where I found out who it was they cared about, what they wanted, but I was like I was shallow with it. Like, I didn't get pain, I didn't get
Pain.
edifying.
So remember why, edify,
Yeah.
budget. But inside that why, you got to identify pain. A lot of agents, they'll identify the why.
Yeah, that's what I did.
It's why is the reason. It's not the feeling.
Yeah.
Why is the reason, but there's pain underneath there, and they're trying to resolve that.
Yeah. So, and the way you really get the pain is by
Go ahead, talk through it.
giving an example of, like, did you not want to follow in the same footsteps as your mom, or is your mom?
Sometimes mom's not gonna be in the picture. Sometimes it's just like, I love like your story. Have you ever gone through anything like that yourself? That's a great. I mean, I commend you on it sincerely. That's a great. By you asking that question, it tees you up tremendously. Like, you really know where to go, because either they ever had that or not had that. If they've never had, like, if they've had it, you got a whole set of tools now that you can use. So you like when you were filling this out, were you thinking about X, like whoever that X is for them?
Yeah.
But if they say, you know, I guess everybody's somewhat been affected by it, so more times than not. But it gives you a stream to go down, because they're either copying what somebody did, or they're trying to do right. Like, in other words, if they were affected by something and they didn't have coverage, they're trying to do better than the last generation for their own.
And so, and you're always using that throughout the whole time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Yeah,
because even if they told me that, yeah, this is what happened, I would talk about it then, but then I would just leave it, and then the rest would be like shallow. Like, it wouldn't be about that and bringing back that pain.
you've got good body language. You've got a good tonality in your voice. Your demeanor's good. I think you need to slow down just a teeny bit and dig on the relationships that are involved. Like, really understand who's going to be forking out money, who has to pay for things, why. So that's a final expense situation. Let's just talk if it was mortgage protection. It might be more legacy. So you got to figure out, like,
In the home for,
yeah, why, is it mortgage protection, or is it just straight up life insurance? But the point remains, there's reasons that they want to care for the next generation. Sometimes
yeah, totally.
it may be not even the generation, but two removed. They want to make sure that their grandkids, so you got to figure out what it is. Sometimes it's just going to be, they want to be well thought of by the, is that important
Yeah,
to you?
they don't want to.
Yeah. Gosh, can you imagine, like, so you can use phrases like, gosh, can you imagine being a fly on the wall at your own funeral? Like, yeah. I don't know if I would or not, just, you get them thinking about it. But, like, so we went through one scenario where it was final expense, but my point is this: no matter if it's final expense,
Yeah.
no matter if it's mortgage protection, no matter if it's life insurance, there's a why, but then there's something deeper than the why. It's the pain you got to bring out.
I totally see.
Yeah. And you need to be the person that resolves it. You got to edify them for it, and then you got to make sure you hit the budget and talk them down a little bit. I call it's more like budget is what I say, but what it really means is budget sensitivity.
Yeah. Just ask me what you'd like me to do, and I'll try my best to help.
That's Brant's
Okay.
Amazon device in there.
Oh, yeah.
Must have said something close to its name. Other questions? Anything?
That really for me was like the biggest thing.
That helps.
Yeah, that's.
You deal a lot with violent expense,
I have been recently, yes.
so that'll help a lot. I mean, we covered explicitly.
But I
So,
can use that for every.
You can, yeah. Remember, it's relationships, and you got to use names, and you got to get, you know, like the reason, and like the pain underneath why.
Yeah, like I was getting a name, I was getting a reason, but no pain.
Sounds like you're ice skating right over it.
Yeah, like just.
You never put the visual, and so it's almost like some people. So I'm gonna switch gears and do mortgage protection. Like a lot of people go like, who's this for? Like, you know, and like on a husband and wife deal, and say that's awesome, but they'll never get them to tell the story of what it looks like without. And so if it was mortgage protection, like the classic example is like you got a husband and a wife, and you go, well, I mean, what would happen? I mean, if you didn't have this policy, I mean, and God forbid, let's just say you give her a kiss tomorrow, just like you do every day, but something horrible happens and your car never shows back up in the driveway. I mean, well, emotionally, it's gonna be horrible, obviously, but financially, where does that leave you guys? I mean, and I talked to her, would you be able to stay here? Where would you go? Is that ideal? Like you have a good relationship with your mom, your sister, your, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. And I mean, they have a house big enough. You think they'd mind if you stayed there? Meanwhile, he's getting uncomfortable because he doesn't want his wife having, you know, whatever. And say, you know, what would you? I mean, is that what you? I mean, are you kind of thinking the same thing? You don't want. I mean, are you comfortable with that? Or are you trying? You don't want her to have to do that. But see, the whole point is, no matter if it's mortgage protection or final expense, I want them to paint me a picture of what it looks like without this coverage in place. And then I want to pull on heartstrings to get them to really think, to make a good decision. Okay.
Crazy.
All right. I've given you a lot. I don't want to overwhelm you. It'll be recorded. You just go to thealliancejacks.com, click on the media tab, and you'll be able to rewatch this. I'll try to get it posted.
Dude, that was huge. No joke. That was like,
seriously? It's good?
That one point, that's huge for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, rewatch it and practice some of the lines that I was saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna practice.
Yeah, because you'll get better.
Yeah.
You really will. All right, Jake.
Thanks for doing this, man.
You're very welcome, brother. Love you, man. All right, guys. Hope that helped you too. So we'll be shutting down the stream.